and the Steelers tumbling them way back to another win. I tell you what, I don't understand how this team is 5-3, but they are.
That's exactly it. I mean, that's now a verb. They have tomlined their way to 5-3 despite being outgained by 790 yards in their 8 games this season. They are the 34th team in NFL history to be outgained in each of their first 8 games. They're the only one with a winning record through those games. Only one of the previous 33 teams finished the season with a winning record. That was the Steelers last year.
Ridiculous.
So what do we say? How in the world do we explain this?
It's a magic trick. I mean, like, there's no other way to explain it. The football is a ground acquisition game. The point is to gain yards, move the ball forward in literally every game. They are worse at that than their opponent, and yet they've somehow 5-3. It makes no sense. Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. If ever the Steelers got tired of him, teams would fire their coaches to line up to try and hire him. There's nobody better, honestly, like, to get serious, like, there's nobody better at, like, consistently week in, week out, making sure their team is ready to play the game.
Yep.
They're literally good at nothing other than winning the game. It's ridiculous. So I don't see how it's sustainable. But hats off to them for finding a way, because you talk about getting outgained.
Yeah.
You're not even counting the penalty yards. They had 10 penalties last night. They don't play the game well.
The numbers,
they muck it up.
Find a way to win.
Since the start of last season, this was their 7th win when scoring 20 or fewer points. It's their 7th win when trailing through 3 quarters, and it's their 7th win when being outgained in yards. Is it Tomlin? Is it magic? How do you explain that this team flat out stinks, and yet they're 5-3?
I mean, that's what Bill Cowher used to do too before he got Ben Roethlisberger. They just muck the game up. They hang around and they wait for you to beat yourselves, and they try and take the possessions out of the game by running the football, and it's tick, 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 and it comes down. That was the first turnover of the game, and it won the game, right? Because they muck it up, and they have a tremendous defense that's suffocating. It's going to put you behind the sticks, and they just play Steeler football. This is old school right here. You know, Canada comes down to the sideline, welcome, hello, and it's still in 20 points. Like 20 points, that is a goal for a defense to hold a team to 17 to 20 points, and yet they are finding ways to win football games because they play and they're able to make and win tight ball games.
Still haven't gained 400 yards in a game since Matt Canada has been the offensive coordinator. This is his 3rd year in that job. So, and yet they win more than they lose. Like a couple specific things about the Steelers last night. They made a change at right tackle that seems to have helped the run game.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward back on defense, back from injury. That's going to make a difference. Deontay Johnson, it's only his 2nd game back from injury. So they're 5-3, and personnel-wise, they're getting better. One of these weeks, they might get 400 yards, and then you got to watch out.
I leave more encouraged about the Titans, right? Not maybe for this season, but Will Levis, has just put everybody on notice that he's a good young quarterback. He has the moxie and the heart to go play in that environment. I've played in that environment. When they play Renegade, I've seen guys piss down their pants. Right? I was like, just punt the ball. Let the defense out here, because they start hunting. Hightower, T.J. Watt, playing at high levels. And they did this without Mika Fitzpatrick. A lot of communication problems on the back end. And about a coach like Mike Tomlin, he always says the standard is the standard. So he holds everybody accountable. Even you heard his hidden messages about communication coming out of halftime, and they figured it out, and they find ways to win.
2 very quick things I'll finish this with. The first of them is, on behalf of all of us who drafted George Pickens on our fantasy team, can someone please do something? I watched that whole Amazon pregame last night. I got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Richard Sherman are saying, throw him the ball, throw him the ball. 2 catches for -1 yards. And the second, to your thought about Mike Tomlin being out of there and getting fired, it'll never happen.
No, they don't fire coaches.
Want to hear the greatest stat of all time? The Raiders have had more head coaches since 2021 than the Steelers have had since 1969. That is the difference. 3 coaches since 1969. That's how you wind up Tomlining your way to a winning record. Tyreek Hill getting ready to go, and obviously for him this is a very big game, and he was talking about that with the media in Germany, taking on his former team.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter where we play at. I mean, obviously, it would have been great to play in KC, but it really doesn't matter where we play at. You feel me? They're going to get this work wherever, though. Look, y'all ready to use that. Bulletin board material.
I wish that you could see Bartholomew laughing. Meanwhile, on planet Earth, we've got Jeff Darlington in Frankfurt, Germany. That's where he is on planet Earth right now, watching that game, But as I come to Jeff, you started to laugh when he said that. They're going to get this work no matter what. Tyreek is ready for this game.
He's had this circled, and the fact that he's talking about, I wish it was in Kansas City, so you can say and see exactly what you let go out of those doors. They haven't found a way to replace him. I know they won a championship, and that's just the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, but I think you're really starting to see the absence of somebody opposite of Kelsey.
Of Travis Kelce. Yeah, we'll see if they're able to figure that out. So let's go out to Frankfurt, Germany. And Jeff, Tyreek is not making any secret of the fact that this is a big game for him. What else are we hearing?
Yeah, I thought, Greeny, he actually handled it really well when he was talking about his time with the Chiefs, spoke about it with great fondness, talked about how he loves being in Miami, feels like it's been great for him. It allowed him to accomplish a goal, by the way, being completely candid, of becoming one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. In general, it's one of those trades where I agree with Bart. I think the Chiefs are now feeling the ramifications of his loss more than they did maybe a year ago, but ultimately there doesn't seem like there's ill will. I didn't sense that I know he wants this, and I know he'd love to put up 1,000 yards for those reasons, but he does seem very content and happy with what he's doing. And yes, he has to do it in Frankfurt, not at Arrowhead, but there is no question Tyreek Hill is the storyline of this game, Greeny.
And let's talk about the importance of this game. Graziano brought up an interesting point. The Chiefs are coming off a bad loss, and they tend to have those hiccups every season. But we don't usually see them in back-to-back weeks. I think the conversation about them on Monday will be a little different if this one looks a lot like that one did.
Without a doubt. I mean, look, they're going to
for sure.
Sorry, Jeff, I'll come to you in a second. I meant that for Dan. Sorry.
I think the offense has to start to look good. What I've been thinking all along is the Chiefs progress through this year and the young guys on offense start to make greater contributions the way their young guys on defense did last year as the year went on, to the point where they were playing their best in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. If that happens, then they're fine. But it's about time to start seeing it, right? I mean, we need to see, these guys make catches reliably. We need to see them be making plays. I'm talking about the second-round pick types, Sky Moores, Rashee Rice, because they do need other weapons and other places to go on offense.
And so let me get back to Jeff here as we have him from Frankfurt. We all understand on that side. What are we hearing from the Kansas City players?
Well, I think that it is a massive game from both sides. We are talking about, okay, we're at the midway point, and yes, both teams have had their narratives about whether the Chiefs have wide receivers, whether the Dolphins can win a big game. Mike McDaniel literally in his press conference just a little bit ago said, I know if we win this game, everybody's going to say we're going to win the Super Bowl, and if we lose this game, people are going to say we can't win big games. That's really what this spells out for on both sides of the ball. Chiefs players recognize, it also is interesting the travel that both teams have done here. The Dolphins coming over, 5 days before the game. The Chiefs just got here this morning. So, we're kind of looking at this from all sides saying, how does this ultimately play out and impact the season? But there is no question, there's a lot on the line here for both teams.
As I put the picks up on the screen from everybody else, Jeff not picking it because he's covering the game, Jeff, what is your sense of that part of it, the travel and how it will play into how the game plays out?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins have the edge because of it. Teams have traveled to London, for instance, on short notice and won the game, so it does go both ways. I also look at Patrick Mahomes after coming off the flu. Is that the best time to have to jump on a 10-hour flight and have a 6-hour time difference? It doesn't feel awesome from that regard. The Dolphins are getting much healthier. It's all circumstantial to me when it comes to who wins what game. These teams could play 5 times or 4 times and split. Ultimately, though, we look at the Dolphins right now, and this is the storyline. They are 0-2 with 18.5 points per game against teams that currently have a winning record. 0-2, 18.5 points per game. They are 6-0 with 39 points per game against teams 500 or worse. They need to win the big game. They need a signature win. I think it's going to be very important for them.
All right, Jeff, enjoy it out there. That everyone here is envious of this assignment. We will see your coverage all weekend long. Again,
I'm enjoying
that is the monster game on Sunday morning. Oh, I know.